Women's intimate care category has long been about just solving a problem. The category, which was once built around utility, is today being reshaped by trust, by comfort, and by open conversations. Brands today are not just selling products. Today, they are challenging perceptions and they're changing the way a woman experience a product. Joining me today is one such brand who has been consistently leading this transition, the co founder of Plush, Ketan Munoth. Welcome, Ketan. Thank you for speaking to Impact Magazine.
Thank you. Thank you for having me here. It's a pleasure.
So, firstly, congratulations on completing 7 years with Plush. My first question would be, when you started with Plush, there had been a lot of brands. There had been D2C and legacy brands that consumers can choose from. What was that unmet need that you wanted to fulfill? What kind of consumer insight led you to build Plush?
I think the biggest problem while we were building for this brand during our R&D phase was that around 70% of the women or menstruators had this unspoken problem of rashes, irritation, redness, or itchiness, right?
Yeah.
And the reason I also say this is unspoken is that women wouldn't speak up at first, but the second question once you start asking them, thereafter they started opening up. You know what? I do have rashes, but I thought it's common. It's maybe it's only for me. And then we realized that this big problem of rashes being very prevalent, and we thought that if by product, if by R&D, if we could solve for it, then I think we do have a great product or a proposition to offer to menstruators. So yeah, that's the key thing on how we started building the product.
Okay, and if you can give us an idea on the time that you started, and it's been 7 years now,
Yeah.
how have you changed with your communication? What kind of evolution have you seen in the marketing strategies?
I think a lot, and it is to do with how the brand evolves, how the journey evolves. So we started as a very period care first brand with two products, pads and liners, and eventually during the journey, we started adding hair removal, intimate wellness. So overall, the brand has evolved from a period care brand to a holistic women's health and wellness brand. And according to that, our communications have also evolved. They have matured. Now we do have a sort of a wider audience to content that people relate to. So from nothing to lose, now we have something to lose. So accordingly, there are some more guardrails around it. So yeah, I think content has matured.
Okay. Recently, for Mother's Day, you had launched a campaign.
Yeah.
It was for postpartum care.
Correct.
So, if you can tell us a bit about the campaign, and with that, I would like to know, is this like an indication that the brand is also moving towards getting more products under that portfolio?
I think a 100% indication that we will, in the woman's journey from puberty to menopause, a maternity is also one phase where, Plush wants to be their partner. And that campaign, the brainchild of our brand and marketing team was, the fact that whenever a woman is, delivering a child or, giving birth to a child, each one of their the friends, families, a close circle thinks about what to give to their the child, right? What can I get for the newborn? But very seldom do people think of the care and the support that the mother also needs. And the entire campaign was how we need to do more for the mother as well. And that's how our range also started, where we've launched period panties, maternity period panties, and period pads, sanitary pads, to make sure that we are supporting mothers in this new journey.
Okay. And will there be also products that we can see in the nutraceutical category? Do you have plans around that? Because at the end, the women category can be extended to different lengths. So where do you think that limit is? Till where do you want the category to expand?
I think to answer very specifically to nutraceuticals, I think it's a great space for us to be in. We are very tempted to do something around it, but I think we will wait because there is a lot to be done even within the period care, hair removal, and intimate wellness space that we're already there in. And the goal for the brand, the entire team, is only to make more and more people try Plush. So I think the near term, uh, think tank that the each one is gunning for is to make sure that within these categories, how can we reach out to more users?
Correct. Okay, so because Plush has now completed 7 years, if you can tell us how has the brand matured? Like earlier, it was of course about driving category adoption, but
So
today you can also look into building a brand preference because Plush is a well-known brand now. So when it comes to performance marketing and then brand building, how are you referring to both? Which one would you think will help the brand at this point?
I think as I mean this the journey of 7 years, it's been quite an eventful one, quite a bumpy one, wherein the 0 to 1 journey was, I would say, one of the toughest journeys because it is a trust efficient category. Women would or menstruators any would hesitate to try Plush or any other brand for that matter because they are comfortable or they're secured in the pad that they're using is what they would
Yeah.
feel and not asking for better or not demanding for better because there were no better options available at that point of time. Now, Plush is there and, we're offering something better. So earlier, our education was more into how women should try Plush. It still is one of the biggest levers. But it was more from a now, speaking to one individually, the campaigns would, involve speaking to each one. We would do a lot of events on ground, we would do a lot of activations. But now, as the brand has evolved from 0 to 1 and 1 to 10, now we're in the journey of 10 to 100. Now, while Perf will continue to grow, brand will also start, taking some preference over it because knowing the brand for the right reasons and especially as the category also expands into intimate wellness, hair removal, that overarching umbrella of why Plush and what is Plush will start becoming important, and you will see our brand team sort of taking more efforts to strengthen the brand overall.
Okay. You have just mentioned that the 0 to 1 has been really difficult. So, this is actually a thing women always go for, not women as human beings, we always go for products out of habit or
Correct.
convenience. So, legacy brands are one of them who had been through television ads
Hmm.
or through maybe from a generation uh, like our mothers, they have always helped us with the brands that have been readily available over a convenience store.
Correct.
So how difficult was it to change that habit? I mean, who were your target audience when you started with, and how has been the journey as of now?
I think it was the most difficult phase for us, the 0 to 1 journey, because one, to convince menstruators to try Plush, a product which is touching their skin for hours,
Yeah.
which has to make sure that the product does not leak. It's a lot of plunge that they are taking in trying the brand, and those time I mean we used to have those conversations 1 to 1 in events, activations, and try and make them touch and feel the product. How different are we to make sure that their journey of trying Plush is slightly more easier, and then we got our first set of 100,000 users because people had their mindset as you rightly mentioned that they do not want to switch, so that
Mm.
switching behavior was the biggest barrier in making people try Plush. But as people started trying Plush, once few the word of mouth started happening, so it helped us a little bit. And then COVID stuck, and then we were again, down to I would say survival because distribution was limited.
Correct.
People wouldn't get it at the right time at the right place, and your timing becomes very important. And again, then again we started our journey, making sure that online distribution started, happening where you get the product within 1 day. So we're solving for timing. The repeat was the next biggest challenge. That now those people, how do they get the product every single month, or every 2 months, whatever their behavior is,
Yeah.
because the hard-earned effort of acquiring that customer, of making the customer try Plush, we did not want to lose that. So
Mm.
then the journey evolved into how do we make sure that the product is now available for them to try it, you know.
Okay. And how important was Q-commerce as a platform in this journey? Because they already, we as consumers, we go to a Q-commerce
Hmm.
platform and we just search the name of, not a name,
Correct.
we don't use a name, just the product we use, and they give us a plethora of options to select from. So how important has been Q-commerce, any of the platforms in
I think
Plush's journey?
it has been very, very important. Not just Plush. I think so many other brands, growing brands, it's solving for distribution, real-time distributions. I mean, they're the modern day GT, you can say that. And most importantly for Plush, it has solved for repeats, I would say, because now the consumers, even if they forget, and it's a product category which is very time bound. If you need it today, then you need it today, right? But D2C, or we may not be available in an offline store, so you may not get the product. But quick commerce has helped solve repeat for us big time, wherein people are now comfortable, searching for Plush, and you know that it's going to be there. I'm going to get it in 15 minutes, 20 minutes. So that has been a great savior for the consumers as well, and for the brand. It has helped increasing our LTV, right? It's helped retain those consumers for a longer time.
Yeah. And we have also seen a lot of campaigns of Plush with Q-commerce platforms. So one of them was Zepto campaign on World Menstrual Hygiene
Correct.
Day. So how did you come up with that insight? I mean, it's based on, of course, a well-known scenario that we have all faced. So what was your thought behind it? And apart from the social media buzz, how has it helped the brand in terms of growth?
I think the idea, started with our brand team and their brand team, Zepto's brand team and our brand team, wherein both of them, they wanted to do something impactful and make sure that we are making people aware,
Yeah.
trying to break those taboos, trying to put the cultural norm back into their face. That there was a time when ads used to come wrapped in newspapers, and now with quick commerce, you are getting it as openly as possible, trying to break, shift, trying to break those taboos right from the way you're purchasing it, right from the way you're unfolding the product. So that was the message that we wanted to give to the users, a reflection or pause, a moment for them to think about it, and make sure that as the society progresses, as education improves, that we keep developing on this, we keep removing these barriers, we keep removing these, and we may keep having those conversations one day at a time. So that was the impact. That was the message, and the way it impacted us was we did get a lot of mentions. A lot of people wrote about the campaign on LinkedIn, on Twitter. They reached out to us saying, this was a very impactful or a memorable campaign, right?
So, if you can help me with the media mix as a D2C brand, do you also plan to expand towards traditional like TV, print, or OH, or you plan to stick to digital? And what kind of mediums are you heavy on?
So, as any fast-growing D2C brand or digital-first brand, Meta and Google continue to be, platforms where the storytelling is the highest. And then, of course, we do on platforms which is Zepto, Instamart, Blinkit, Flipkart, and Amazon. Wherein on platform we are being relevant for the right searchers, trying to be visible, trying to increase our share of voice. And with respect to whether traditional platforms we will try churn, not in the near future, but we will do explore other medium platforms like OTT, wherein the modern Indian user is being present. So trying to be as targeted as possible, I would say.
There is this campaign called One Period for Your Period. So it has taken Plush into classroom and communities.
Correct.
So if you can help us with what was the campaign about, how did you come up with this name, and what kind of how has it influenced the brand's business if it comes to product development or strategy or marketing?
I think how did it come up is, it's again the creative geniuses of our brand and marketing team to make sure, we do something impactful. Uh, so the idea started with how we solve for, education right from the grassroots level. If that is solved at the root cause, the entire generation, benefits from it, because that gets passed on, and the thought process completely shifts. So we started with that thought on how do we make period education more simpler, neater, and nicer, more edible. And with that thought, our team started participating, collaborating with various schools. So, I'd be happy to share that this year we would have, partnered with more than 150 plus schools, more than about, say, a few colleges, more than 30, 40 colleges, to make sure that we are imparting period education in a in a simpler format. And this time we've also included a lot of boys in the education process as well, so that this becomes, so we break those taboo, we break those myths right from an early age, and those conversations happen, and these conversations matter.
Okay, and if you can also tell us about map the gap
Hmm.
period. So that has a, how do you like intend to work with businesses or policymakers or institutions to actually attain your objectives when it comes to the campaign, and how has the initiative progressed so far? Any kind of update or development that you can share with us?
So this thought also started with a very simple thought that it is assumed that periods happen only at home, and then as soon as you step out, as soon as menstruators step out of their home, their entire world is completely different, right? Period infrastructure, as we call it, wasn't available or is not visible fully enough. So with that thought, we wanted to make sure that we are building for that infrastructure through simple vending machines to start with, through awareness campaigns, through making sure that it is available. You just ask for it, and in institutions like malls, like corporates, like schools, colleges. I think this is very important, because you know that at the back of your mind that if there is something available to you during an emergency, you are just so calm and relaxed. And also the fact that you will not be embarrassed, you know where to go, you just pay that 10 rupee, or some places it is also for free. So we wanted to make period education more available and visible, and it was very pleasantly surprising that we got a lot of inbound responses from users, menstruators, through DMs and through a lot of corporates, even institutions, to make sure that how can they be partners in this. So I mean, we've partnered with a lot of malls in Mumbai, Chennai, Hyderabad. We're there in so many schools and colleges. Now we're also looking at co-working spaces like Workafella, like there is Mosaic. So how do we, take these institutions and make them, I would say, make their period infrastructure more available to them?
Okay, and if you can share us with any metric or something, that how has it progressed in terms of development?
So with respect to numbers, we started with one vending machine. Initially, we started with one vending machine, but today we are, already successfully installed about 50 plus vending machines,
Okay.
and have already signed MOUs for about 150 more. We've also got newer partners like Horeca, who have, voluntarily stepped up to see, how their infrastructure can also be better. So that number will slowly reach 200. And the biggest thing is, on a daily level, we see that someone is using a pad at a mall, at a corporate, because we get all of those data at the back end when someone is scanning for it, when someone is using a coin to get a pad. So this means that this is solving real world problem. Otherwise, those machines would have been defunct. There would have been no usage. But we see that on a daily basis, someone is sort of using that vending machine to get a pad. So that is like a huge validation to this thought and through this process.
Do you also collaborate with creators or influencers from tier 2, tier 3, and what is the brand growth if we come to these regional aspects?
So it is a growing market, I would say, but it's a very distributed market. So I mean, with respect to tier two, there's not one region or province that we are focusing on. Uh, I would say regional content with respect to these creators is something that we do here and there, not to a wider extent, but we have started doing that, wherein it's reaching to a slightly regional audience like Marathi, like Kannada, like Malayali, like Tamil. So where we are trying to make those content also more accessible to them, and those content usually is more I would say preferred or consumed by the tier 2 and tier 3 people. But our focus still remains in the metros, because we are able to solve for distribution in a much better way in
Okay.
metros.
Okay. Okay, so whenever planning for a campaign,
Hmm.
which medium, be it retail or creator or experiential, which medium gets the maximum investments, and which medium has brought maximum profitability for the brand?
I think that depends upon the campaign objectives, to be very honest.
Yeah.
An experiential event will solve for the wow factor, which is say important in on ground events and activations, to make sure that people flock to you to talk to you, and then the conversation or the magic happens wherein you're talking about the brand story, and they get that. But in a market where we are very digital first or digital focused, your performance marketing becomes slightly more key, because we are also present across these markets, or present or sold via digital first platforms, and hence that becomes like the core forte or the core focus for the brand.
Correct. So, right now, how much will you say is the total amount investment towards marketing from the total revenue?
Uh, that keeps again changing on months where we do want to acquire a lot of users or make more users try Plush. Then we go slightly higher on performance marketing, try go higher on Meta or influencer also to show that. But on months where we feel that we need to churn these users, then it may go higher on CRM or your retention engines. So it keep fluctuates basis marketing objectives, uh, but it does have a decent percentage of the total sales, right? And for a young and a growing brand, I would say performance marketing will always be first, and then followed by brand.
Okay, if you can help us with a percentage, like around
So
under 10.
so on say on platform, platforms it ranges between say 5% to 15%, again depending on the month and depending on the objectives. And for a say of storytelling first platform like a Meta, it would range from say a 20% to anywhere about 30%.
Okay. So, over the next few years, when it comes to growth, where will Plush put its biggest bets on? So will it be marketing or media? Will it be product innovation or distribution?
I think I'll choose the option D, which is all of the above, because everything is important for the kind of goals and plans that we have for the brand, which is A, to make sure the brand is more and more aware to a lot many users, a lot many menstruators. B, continuously investing in product pipeline, in getting sure that one, we're improving the current set of products and launching innovative product solutions to the users. And three, making sure distribution is solved for by like quick commerce is there, and then there is a small bet that we're also playing on offline. So we need to make sure that the product is available, widely seen, widely distributed, so that people get Plush very comfortably and conveniently.
Okay. Thank you, Ketan. Anything else you would like to share from your end?
I think thank you for having me here. It's been a great session, and for people who are watching, do try Plush and give us a feedback.
Thank you. Thank you so much for
Thank
speaking
you.
on that.